Hey, I'm the Sooze. Today we're going to be talking about using open strings to help us pick chords, where those are placed, and how they're sounding. And so one of the cool things about the electric guitar is that we have all these open strings that can kind of ring out wherever we put our hands for a higher chord. And so today I'm just going to be talking about which strings I like to use for that. And so I'll go individually down the guitar from the biggest strings down to the smallest strings, okay? So that low E string is what I did on the intro. And the nice thing about the low E is that you also have a high B and a high E you can leave open. So these are very classic kind of voicings that basically just move through like the 1 chord, 4 chord, 5, 6, but keeping all of those open around it. And that sounds like this. And what's really cool is that sometimes you can do like an F sharp major chord down here also sounds really cool. I hear like Foo Fighters use this a lot in their kind of sound. You can take that same shape and move it around up here as well. And the low E is obviously moving as your bass note, but the high B and E are staying open. Cool, yeah, so I learned these a long time ago, but I still use them in creating songs today. I just think they sound really good and open. So for the open A here on the 5th string, I kind of think about these in terms of riffs or following the D string to use some sort of melody or moving around with chords above it. And so I'll kind of you'll hear me experiment on how to use that scale, the A scale, all the while keeping the A open. So to me, that's a very musical sound. It's something that keeps that pedal note just going the whole time, staying that low A. But then you create a melody above it using just an A scale, just figuring out where all those scale degrees are on the E or the D string. I'll do some more chords as well. So keeping those higher notes, they're in a chord shape, but keeping the A string open gives kind of a different sound as well. So yeah, I love that. Just the A string droning underneath all of these sort of 3-note chords above it. So now we'll do the D string. If this stays open, we have a little bit less to work with, but we've got the G and the B and the E above it to make some interesting chord shapes. And again, play some melody, kind of following through the scale, but keeping that D open as well. So try some of these shapes as well. Yeah, so it's a sort of a mix between playing chords and also just playing one note at a time. That open string that we leave there fills it out. Even when I'm high up here, I still have a low chord below helping it out. So I'll do some other stuff down here. You can kind of see keeping that D shape here, moving that around, but keeping that D open. I'll play it without the D open. You can kind of hear that it's a little bit bland without that pedal D beneath it, and then I'll add it back in. Cool, and the last one we'll do is this open G. Okay, so sometimes I'll do that in the key of G. So these shapes that you might see with the root on the A string and the third on the B string. Muting the D string, that G can just stay open the whole time. It kind of provides a glue holding between all the other chords. So sometimes I'll call that the Blackbird move from the Beatles. Just keeping that G droning is really cool. I also wanted to show in a different key, like the key of D. If you keep that G open, it gives you sort of a different like cluster chord sounds, dissonance, and dissonance is a big part of my style and playing as well. And so now I'll play these kind of 3-note chord shapes, but I'll keep that G open, and you can hear how it rubs against the chords, kind of makes some weird dissonance happen. Yeah, so there you go. So that's using open strings, letting them ring out, and experiment, find different shapes that you like with those, and they sort of provide just a glue among all the chords that you're playing. So hope that was helpful, and I'll see you next time. Sooze out.